Yesterday we implemented test cases for admin logging. Let us write the test cases for the second scenario in the RNHRM application. What is the second scenario?
The forgotten password.
Right. Any user belongs to RNHRM application able to reset the forgotten password or not is the second scenario. We have finished test cases for the scenario 1, check admin login. Let us create test cases for the registered user able to reset the forgotten password or not. First you document. Will you document? Try, then I'll write. Write test cases for the registered user able to reset the forgotten password or not. To verify the registered users are able to reset the forgotten password or not, create test cases. Guess what is the first step? What is your test case description? One second. Yesterday we have implemented the two test cases. Check admin login with valid credentials. Check admin login with invalid credentials. The next test case, tell me. Check registered user able to reset the forgotten password or not. With valid inputs. Why I added a tag with valid inputs? While resetting a password, the user given a registered username, he should send a reset password link to the registered email ID. By mistake, they given a wrong username, system should display a message, username not found in the database, something like this. Nothing entered and we click reset password, it should display appropriate error message. If a valid registered username is given, it should send a reset password link to the registered email ID. Any invalid data is given, system should display appropriate error message. So for that reason, I given here, check registered user able to reset the forgotten password or not with valid inputs. This also will go here. What do you mean by valid input? Registered users are valid users. Unregistered users are implicitly invalid users. So again, I no need to write here in this scenario because here I use a word registered user. Registered user meaning valid users. It's enough. Step 1. For every test case, execution must independent to each other. Every test step you have to start from the very beginning. For every test case, we have to start the navigation from the very beginning. So based on this, what is the first step?
Open browser.
In our previous test case, it is available. Open browser, enter valid URL and click go. URL of the Orange HRM application. Expected system should display login page. This is the first step. We are creating test cases for the scenario registered user able to reset the forgotten password or not, which is high priority scenario. We are creating test cases for a high priority scenario. All test cases belongs to high priority scenario also will take high priority for execution. So this test case priority also high. Step 2. Yes, answer me. Click forgotten password. Click forgotten password. No data required to click this link. Test data column blank. What is expected? System should display reset password page.
Reset password page.
What's the next step? You know, many times in Gmail or Facebook, in some other applications, sometimes we forget the password, try to recover the password. System should display reset password page. Valid input meaning?
Valid username.
Valid username. And click submit button or reset password button. Here I am writing click reset password. Maybe while executing the test case, you encountered a button, submit button. Will go. The data required to run this step, username value. Supposing my username is say admin. What is expected? What is expected?
System should display a OTP page, I think. OTP
Should
result.
display. It should send a reset password link to the registered email ID. Correct?
Yes.
System should send reset password link to the registered email ID. Then click reset password link, the mail. No data required to click the links. What is expected? System should display or redirect to, you can use a word either display also here, redirect to reset password page. Yes. Generally in the reset password page, we are not changing the existing password. We are recovering the password. First of all, I did not remember the old password. For that reason, we are resetting the password. We have to give the new password, confirm password, and click reset button. Enter a valid new password. Confirm password and click submit or reset, whatever it may be. The data required to run this step, new password. I'm giving something like this. Confirm password. Next time when we are writing this step, if I enter a invalid confirm password, meaning admin@123 is my new password. In the confirm password field, I enter admin@321, some other value. It should display a message, new password and confirm password does not match. Something like this. That also we have to cover, but not here. This is our objective is, intention of writing this test case, user able to reset the password or not. Then, in the negative test case, you need to focus on all possible invalid actions. What is expected for this step? System should reset new password successfully. How you confirm password reset successfully? Maybe you receive a message, your password is reset successfully. But how as a tester you confirm really the password is updated successfully?
Database. From the database, I think.
I reset the password for the admin account, correct? Login as admin with new password. If the admin is able to log in with the new password, it is the confirmation password was reset successfully, enough. Username admin. Password admin@123. System should display admin module. This is a procedure we can write to verify a user able to reset the able to recover the forgotten password or not. Hope it's understood, right? In the same way, we should not use a word reset password here. Registered user meaning valid user, right? Check reset password functionality with invalid inputs. The first two steps are same. Open the RHM application, click on forgotten password. This also high priority. We are writing test cases for a high priority scenario. Definitely all test cases belongs to high priority scenario will take high priority for execution. The next step. Tell me. Enter. We are getting only reset password page where we are entering a username. Enter invalid username. We are giving a username which is not in the database. What is expected? System should display an error message. Enter valid username. Username does not exist. Anything will go. Username does not exist. Leave username blank and click one second. This is an incomplete step. Enter invalid username and click reset password. Like leave username blank and click reset password. What is expected? Something like this. Hope you understood this. And also here there is a option we have to cover. While resetting a password, new password admin@123 is given. Confirm password something else is given. It should display an error message saying that the new password and confirm password does not match. One moment. We have to cover this step. Let's see where to cover. Better I'm inserting one step here. Because if you are getting a reset, if you are getting a reset password page, then only you are allowed to enter some data. First, what I'm doing, enter a valid new password. Invalid confirm password and click reset. Coverage C. Coverage is important. Simplification is important. Totally coverage is important. Otherwise, I have to create one more test case for one step. The next topic you'll understand that one second. That doesn't match. See, try to understand this. If I are getting $100 of revenue from a project, I'm discussing about the high level, not bookish level discussion. Practical level discussion I'm doing. As per the bookish, I'll understand whatever you are saying, but practically I don't agree this. Listen. If I'm getting $100 of revenue from a project, %80 of the budget dedicated for the implementation. The business analyst and team, architect and design team, UI developers, database developers, app developers, DevOps engineers, these many people involved in implementation. If you consider these many people's salaries and all, 80% budget as a project manager, 80% of the time and budget I allocated for implementation. A maximum of 20% of the budget allocated for QA. Only one team here. There are many people here. only one department here. There are many people here. So, always we have to carry out testing in a very precise manner, not in an exhaustive manner. Try to answer this question. One team member created 100 test cases to validate a product. 100 test cases are prepared to test one product functionality. The other team member have created only 40 test cases to validate the same product. By executing 100 test cases, we are able to find 10 defects. By executing these 40 test cases also, we are able to find same 10 defects. Who is good tester here?
The person who has
40 test
40.
cases.
A
40
person
test
who
cases.
40 test cases.
40 test cases.
60 test cases, not useful. 60 ideas, useless ideas. Creating these many ideas is not important. Creating the best ideas is important. Less test cases, less number of steps. The second person save the time of test preparation, also save the time of test execution. So here I will say second person is the best person because save the time and cost of testing. Writing these many test cases, nobody will consider in practical scenario. Creating these many test cases, these many steps is not important. Coverage is important. Finally, in my approach, coverage is available or not. Rather than writing again one more test case with 6-7 steps, writing time, execution time, we have to save. Always while defining the test cases, if there is any chance to eliminate unwanted steps, eliminate unwanted test cases, eliminate to save the time and cost of testing. Based on that, instead of writing one more test case, just I added one step. If you follow the bookish standards, yes, I agree with you, we have to create one more test case. I have to create one more test case. If I say positive separately, negative separately, yes, I have to create one more test case. Instead, to save the time of test preparation, test execution, just I added one step. At first, I am entering a valid new password. There it is. Invalid confirm password. Definitely password will not be reset. I entered an invalid password. Invalid confirm password. Here expect a system showing appropriate. Error message or not. Yes, coming. Now I give the valid new password and valid confirm password to continue further. So based on this, enter valid new password, invalid confirm password and click reset. Valid new password admin@123. Confirm password, I'm giving admin@321. I told you if I follow bookish standards, I have to create one more test case. I'm not following that. I'm following the real-time standard to save the time and cost of testing. Definitely, I'll give time deadlines for my team members. By end of this week, I want the test cases for this product. If you follow bookish standards, you cannot complete the work. Time, cost also always to be considered because software company also running a business. So what is expected here? System should display
Password and confirm password should be same.
an error message. New password and confirm password does not match. Something like this. Finally, coverage is there. These two test cases together covering every possibility, correct? See, valid new password meaning, what is the meaning of valid new password? a value which is matching the given conditions. Valid data meaning a data which is matching the condition. While preparing test data, you have to cover the data in such a way. See, I given wantedly one character in uppercase, few characters in lowercase, a special character, a number, meaning it is matching the conditions. While preparing test data, we have to verify the conditions. In our next topic, equivalence class partitioning, boundary value analysis, you'll get more clarity about preparing sample data, test data preparation. It's clear, right? These two test cases. So now, generally while working, what I will do, I have to write test cases for many scenarios for my understanding what is covered, what is to be covered. Generally, I will mark in this way. For the two scenarios, I have covered the test cases. For remaining, I have to cover. And parallelly, I'll update one document. Simultaneously, I'll update one document, requirement traceability matrix. Let me explain this. At first, what I will do, you please observe this template, what is available in this template. At first, I list out totally what are the requirements to be tested in my product. I have given only 5 samples here. Generally, your team lead will list out all the requirements to be covered. See, I'm the lead for this project. I'm responsible to ensure 100% requirement coverage, not each and every team member. What is the team member job? Lead, assign a work, you write scenarios, you write test cases, they prepare and submit back to the lead. That is the team member responsibility. As a manager for this project, as a lead for this project, I am responsible to ensure 100% coverage is achieved or not. Means, for all the requirement scenarios and test cases are prepared or not, I am responsible, not each and every team member. At first, what I will do, let's say I am working on a very big product. Nobody can remember all the requirements every day in the mind. Hundreds of requirements to be tested in e-commerce. Hundreds of functionalities, requirements to be tested in a banking product. At first, I list out somewhere that is called RTM document, requirement traceability document. Totally what are the requirements to be tested in this product will be listed somewhere. Login, record a password, change password, employee registration, user registration, XYZ. First, I list out totally what are the requirements to be tested in the current product. Let's say these 40 requirements to be tested. I listed. Then I assign the work to the team members. You write scenarios and test cases for requirement 1 today. Today you write scenarios and test cases for requirement 2. You write scenarios and test cases for requirement 3. Like this, I'll allocate the work. End of the day, based on the time given, they write scenarios, they write test cases, submit back to me. First, I review the scenarios, I review the test cases. I feel everything is fine, I'll update it. Otherwise, what I can do, I'll make this document available in a centralized location. All my team members will have access to this document. But I list out all the requirements to be covered. I assign the work to my team members. Soon after the work finished for a particular requirement, maybe scenarios and test cases, the team members will update scenarios and test cases to appropriate requirement. Like this. Assumption, my lead, my manager, document a totally list of requirements to be covered in the project. This document available for all the team members, access available for all of the team members. At first, I created some scenarios for login. What is the scenario number here? TS001 for to check admin login. TS007 to verify subadmin login, TS008 to verify employee login, admin login, subadmin login, employee login. Totally 3 scenarios prepared to validate the login requirement. I'll go to this RTM document. We'll update the scenario numbers here. What are the scenario numbers here? TS001, TS007, also TS008. These 3 scenarios belongs to login requirement. Requirements are mapped to corresponding scenarios and corresponding test cases. Now, for every scenario, we created some test cases. To check admin login, one moment, just give me a second. For login, one second. Login is a requirement. There are 3 scenarios created for login requirement. TS007, TS008. For every scenario, I created some test cases. What are the test cases created for scenario 1? Numbers, only numbers here. TC001, TC002. What I'm doing here, every requirement mapped to corresponding scenarios and every scenario mapped to corresponding test cases, so that at any point of time, what are the scenarios belongs to one requirement, what are the test cases belongs to one scenario, that is to the particular requirement can be tracked. This kind of document is called requirement traceability document. Mapping requirements to corresponding scenarios and corresponding test cases. Now, only for scenario 1 test cases are covered. Also, I covered test cases for scenario 2. This scenario 2 belongs to reset forgot password. Here I'll update the scenario number TS002. And what are the test cases belongs to this TS002? That is forgotten password. Test case number 3 and test case number 4. So here, for the login requirement, test case are completed. For the login requirement, all test cases are finished? No. Only for scenario 1 test case are finished. Still this is pending. For scenario 2 test case are finished. Remaining scenarios also not completed. Total requirements of the project. Every requirement mapped to appropriate scenarios and appropriate test cases. The team members are updating the document like this. Team members will update the document. I will maintain this document in a centralized location. Soon after scenarios completed for one requirement, I ask one team member, you write scenarios for requirement 1, login. I ask other team member, you write scenarios for second requirement, reset password. After they prepare the scenarios, they update the numbers here. After one team member written the test cases for a particular scenario, they update the numbers here. Now I am monitoring this document. So I understand totally there are 5 requirements to be covered in the project. Out of 5 requirements, Only for two requirements the scenario is completed. Only for one scenario test case are completed. Second scenario test case completed. Scenario 7, scenario 8 test case has not yet completed. For remaining requirement, even scenario is also not completed. Something like this. This kind of document is called requirement traceability matrix. We'll discuss this separately. But generally, in real time, while after completion of the scenarios for a requirement, after completion of a test cases for a particular scenario, immediately the concerned team members will update it. So that then only the manager comes to know, okay, that person completed test cases for scenario 1. If you keep test cases with you, how I come to know the work is finished? Definitely your lead level, manager level should be able to track what is the percentage of work completed, what is the percentage of work is pending. For that, this RTM document is helpful. There are many other benefits of RTM. After test cases, I'll discuss about this document again in detail. So as of now, for two scenarios, our test case are finished. What is the next scenario here? Check registered user able to update, change the password or not. You write the test procedure for this, both valid and invalid. Write it, you write it. Write test cases for change password functionality in RNHRM product. Any registered user, maybe admin, subadmin, employee, able to change the password or not. To verify that, you write test cases. Two test cases you have to create minimum. First of all, user able to successfully change the password or not. If any invalid data are entered, how does the system behaving? To confirm that, two test cases we have to prepare, you write. First you write, then I will document. So online team, you also write the test procedure, test cases, one positive test case, one negative test case to check registered users are able to change the password or not. You should not hesitate to write. As a manual tester, most of the time you spend in writing test cases and executing test cases. This is your day-to-day work in a company when you are working on manual project testing. You know, no code comes picture in manual testing. Online team, will you write?
Yes.
Yes, sir. We are reading.
Yes, sir.
You have to. You have to.
Hmm.
First you write, then we'll have a review on test cases for change password functionality. Slowly we go. So the objective is not hurriedly finishing the course, finishing the course within a proper understanding and practical knowledge.
Yes, sir.
You tell me so that I'll write. What is the description you have written? One second. Registered user able to
Change password or not.
change password or not. What is the first step?
Open browser. Enter URL.
And we are creating test cases for one scenario which is high priority. Definitely this test case also will take high priority. What is the next step you have documented? Gmail. Why Gmail, madam?
No,
Do you have the change password in login section?
no.
First, you have to log in
Enter
as a
valid
registered user.
username, valid
No,
password.
valid
Current
username and password, then click on
password.
Listen. Enter valid username, valid password, and click login. The same step, I can also write like this. Login as a registered user, maybe admin or employee or subadmin, whatever it may be. Already we have reset the password here to admin@123. Login as a registered user. But I log in as a administrator here. Admin module. In the admin module, somewhere change password option will be available. See, you no need to write click this, that and all. I mean, maybe wherever it is, we have to click the change password in the admin module. Click change password. System should display change password page. What is the next step? Enter. First, we have to give the old password. Then,
new password.
current meaning old password, right? Old password. Then, new password. Then, confirm password. How many fields are here? 3.
3.
Okay. Let's assume we are testing some other feature, employee registration. First name, last name, contact number, email ID, XYZ, there are more fields. Let's say there are about 10 fields in the page. Out of 10 fields, 6 fields are mandatory fields. 4 fields are optional fields. In any application, any form you are testing, you no need to consider optional fields for testing. I repeat, we no need to test optional fields. Why? Why we no need to test optional fields? Any optional field, no conditions, no logic implemented by the developers. You take any optional field in any application, e-commerce, Gmail, Facebook, whatever you key, that will be accepted. In optional fields, no business conditions will be enforced. So there is nothing to test there. Optional fields, whatever the data you enter, that will be accepted. No separate conditions are enforced by developers here. There is no condition enforced by the developer. There is nothing to test. So what I can do, if there are more fields, you can also write the step in this way. Enter all mandatory fields with valid inputs and click submit. Enter all mandatory fields with valid inputs and click submit. In the test data column, we have to fill what are the mandatory fields to be entered. If not listed, what happened? Somebody else, do you think every time the person who prepared test cases only will run test cases? What is the purpose of making a document? A person made a video in YouTube explaining how to cook some dish. Not for that person. Many other people refer and do it, correct? Similarly, Microsoft people have documented the installation procedure of installing Windows. Many other people can refer and do it. In the same way, we are writing the test procedures so that it's a 10 years of support or maintenance project. After 1 year or 2 years, anybody else should able to test the product with the reference of the test case document. That is the end objective of preparing a test case document. I have the subject about the product. If every time I am involving in testing this product, this document is also not required. What I am trying to do, I am not available. In future, anybody should able to test the product. For that, we are preparing a crystal clear document explaining what to test and how to test in our product. So in future, anybody should able to test our product with the reference of the test case document. That is the end goal of preparing a test case document. We are getting what I am saying, right? So what I am trying to highlight here, don't think only the people who create test cases will always run the test cases. Somebody else should able to run the test cases. Now my step description is like this. Enter all mandatory fields with valid inputs and click submit. The other person who is referring my document to execute the test procedure may do not know what are the mandatory fields to be entered. So in the test data column, we have to list out what are the mandatory fields to be entered. Hope you are getting what I am saying. Online team, did you understood what I said?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Your step description, enter mandatory fields, all mandatory fields with valid inputs and click submit. If the mandatory fields are not listed in the test data column, the other person who is executing our test case will be confused. What are the mandatory fields to be entered? Here you have to list out what are the mandatory fields to be entered. So what are the mandatory fields here?
Old password.
Old password.
Old password and new password.
What is your birthday? That's the reason.
admin@123. New password. I'm giving like this, q@123.
Confirm password.
q@123. What is expected? System should update or change new password successfully. In order to confirm the new password updated successfully or not, we have to re-log in with the new password. Login as admin. Login as registered user with updated password, change your password, new password, whatever the word. Something like this. So what is expected? System
Should
should
display
display
admin module.
admin module. Here you can add one more step. Log out. Click log out. This is what I'm saying. Supposing if I have not documented this step, the person who is executing this procedure will not log out? Not maybe. What is the next step? Login as a registered user. If I want to log in as a registered user, I have to do log out, right? See, you can write this. Though such kind of simple navigations are not covered, we don't need to worry about this. Click log out, no data required. What is expected? System should
System should Display login.
Redirect to login
Login
page.
page.
Login as registered user. With updated password. System should display admin module. Understood this one? So over the next test case you can write. Check registered user or check change password functionality with invalid credentials, invalid inputs.
Approach.
The next test case. Check change password functionality with
Invalid inputs.
data, invalid inputs. The three steps are same. Login as registered user. Click change password. System should display change password page. To tell me what are the different invalid perceptions we can cover here. The sequence can be anything. We need to cover all possibilities in invalid direction. Leave all mandatory fields blank and click submit. What are the mandatory fields here?
Old password.
Old password,
New password.
the new password,
Confirm password.
the confirm password. What is expected? System should
System should display error message.
pay an error message. Tell me.
Mandatory fields can't be blank.
Please fill in all mandatory fields. Something like this. The next possibility here. What next? Right. Enter invalid old password, valid new password,
Valid
Valid.
confirm password.
confirm password, and click submit.
Submit.
Old password, invalid one. Anything. Actually, current password is qh@123. I am giving some other password. A new password.
Q.
Something like this, whatever it may be. What is expected here? System
It should
should
display
an error message.
error message.
Enter valid old
Old
password.
password.
Something like this. Here the old password is wrong. The next step. We enter a valid password.
Enter valid password and new password.
Valid
Valid
password.
Confirm
Space
password.
and starting date or its column.
A valid old password. One second. A valid new password. Invalid confirm password. And click submit. A valid old password. A valid new password. What do you mean by invalid confirm password? Which is not matching the new password.
HRMS at
Something like
3,
this.
2, 1.
System should
Display error message.
display an error message.
New password, confirm password, not matched.
New password and
Not
confirm
matched.
password does not match, something like this. Anything else we can cover? All blank already covered. You no need to write actually one blank remaining also here. If I leave all mandatory fields blank or any one of the mandatory field blank, system should display an error message. Please fill in mandatory fields. It is covered. Three meaning, this one, right? Enter invalid old password. Invalid old password meaning? Not the previous one. Almost done. So nothing wrong. You can also write one more step. Leave old password blank. Enter a valid new password. Enter a valid confirm password and click submit and check. Does the system showing a message? Enter old password. Enter a valid old password. But almost it is covered like this. Leave all mandatory fields blank and click submit. See, generally while executing the test cases, based on this, I'll execute in 3 different ways. I leave the old password, enter new password, enter confirm password and click submit. Check appropriate message displayed or not. I enter old password, I leave new password, I enter confirm password and click submit button. Check corresponding message is displayed or not. See, this step while execution you can execute in 3 different ways. Got it? Right. Here I have covered 2 test cases. To verify registered users are able to change the password or not with valid and invalid inputs. Test case number 5 and test case number 6. Immediately what I will do, I'll update the same into the RTM. For the change password functionality, what is the scenario number? 3. For the scenario 3 also I have covered test cases. For scenario 3 also I have covered test cases. First in the RTM document, I'll update the scenario number here, TS003. And I have covered even test cases for the scenario 3. What are the test case number? Test case 5
PC005.
and
Six.
test case 6. For these scenario also test cases are done, finished. I mark like this for understanding, that's it. So, when my project manager, my manager or lead refer this document, they understand that for the 2 scenarios, test case are not yet completed. For these 2 requirement scenarios, even test case also not finished. Blanks indicates that work not finished. Full indicates that work is finished for the scenario. Test case are finished for scenario 2. Test case are finished for scenario 3. Test cases not yet prepared for scenario 7 and scenario 8. Scenarios, even test case also not created for the 2 requirements. So, what is the work finished, what is the work pending can be tracked from a single summary report called requirement traceability document. As it looks like a matrix format, people also call it as requirement traceability matrix. So we'll discuss about this after discussing another topic, equivalence class partitioning and boundary value analysis, which help us to prepare the best sample data for effectively testing a product. Understood test case writing? Can I go with TCP and BVA? Take the topic.
Sir.
Test case design techniques. Test case design techniques. This topic also related to test case designing. Test case design techniques. So what do you mean by a technique generally? Technique, tricks, smart way of doing a job. The intelligent way of doing a work can be called as a technique. See, instead of writing these many test cases, instead of doing exhaustive testing, what is the word I use here?
Exhaustive.
Instead of doing exhaustive testing, what do you mean by exhaustive testing? Long, deep, extensive, in detail, 100% can be called exhaustive. If you test a functionality with all possible input conditions, when you test a functionality in all possible ways, with all possible input conditions, it is called exhaustive testing, which is not required, which is not a qualified professional way of doing testing. I given a small example there. I want to check I am audible to online team members or not. There are about 60 people in the meeting. I no need to ask each and every student, I am audible, I am audible, I am audible. Any one person is enough. One person said, I am audible, from my end it is clear. Similarly, I given another simple example that after cooking a kg of rice, you no need to test whether every piece is boiled or not. Approximately, we pick one middle piece and check whether it is boiled or not. If the middle piece is boiled, here the logic is the remaining piece is also boiled, because all grains are in the same vessel, put in the same temperature, cooked in the same temperature. If one grain is boiled, rest of the grains are also boiled. That is the logic. Like, supposing you boil some water. You want to test the water is boiled properly or not. You no need to test each and every drop, correct? One drop is enough. Similar kind of techniques we have to apply while testing even software applications. To avoid exhaustive testing, which demands lots of time and effort and also not required, there are some proven testing techniques. They are called equivalence class partitioning and boundary value analysis. Make a note of it. Test case design techniques. To avoid exhaustive testing, condition. To ensure requirement coverage, condition. to ensure requirement coverage and to minimize the test cases, the following techniques introduced in software testing. The following techniques introduced in software testing. The following techniques are introduced in software testing. They are, what is the first one? Shortly called ECP, detailing equivalence class partitioning. Equivalence class partitioning, shortly called ECP, BVA. Boundary value analysis. The boundary value analysis, shortly called BVA. To avoid exhaustive testing, see here, there are three goals, three objectives behind these two techniques. What are the three? First, exhaustive testing is practically not possible. Supposing in a money transfer functionality in a banking product, when an amount between 1,000 to 10,000 rupees are transferred to the other account, 5 rupees to be deducted as a service charge from the customer account. The condition, when an amount between 1,000 to 10,000 transferred to other accounts, system should deduct 5 rupees as service charges from the customer who transferred the amount. It is an expected business condition. Developer implemented the code functionality. No guarantee our developer properly made it. We ask you to test it. If we consider all possible input conditions, 1,000, 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, up to 10,000, 9,000 possible input conditions, correct? For all 9,000 inputs, expected service charges are same 5 rupees. My question, do you need to test with all 9,000 inputs? If you want to test, how much time you require? More than the development job, correct? A developer took 4 hours of time for implementing the functionality. If you really want to test with all possible input conditions, you need to spend 40 hours of time to test the functionality. If that is the case, if I need 4 people as developers, I need to have 40 people as testers. It's a wrong approach. Budget, I said 20%. If there are 10 people involved in constructing a product, maximum of 2 people may involve in testing the product. I hope you are getting what I am saying. 10 people involved in constructing a product, maximum of 1 or 2 people involved in testing the same product. But if I want to do exhaustive testing, I need to have more team, more time, which increase my project testing costs. It's the wrong strategy of doing testing, not the qualified way of doing testing. Then you may post a question, so then we pick randomly some values and test. 1,000 to 10,000, randomly we pick up some values and test. But random testing will not guarantee 100% quality. May not. But if I follow these techniques with less amount of time, with less number of inputs or test cases, 100% coverage is guaranteed with less number of test cases. First, we have to make sure 100% coverage. Everything properly designed or not by development team. But I cannot do exhaustive testing. With minimal number of test cases, we should cover the maximum. For that, we use this kind of techniques in testing a product. Equivalence class partitioning and boundary value analysis. So to avoid exhaustive testing, to ensure 100% requirement coverage with less number of test cases, these kind of techniques we follow in software testing. Equivalence class partitioning, boundary value analysis. Let us talk about equivalence class partitioning. Take somebody. Equivalence class partitioning. The equivalence class partitioning. Listen. According to equivalence class partitioning technique, at first you analyze all possible inputs to verify a functionality. First determine all possible input conditions to test a functionality. Let's say there are about 1,000 possibilities, 100 possibilities. But 100 possibilities also will take lots of time. There are 100 possible inputs, 1,000 possible inputs. Really, I cannot test with all 100, all 1,000 inputs. Takes lots of time. Make them into groups, partitions. Equally create the groups. First, you identify all possible input conditions to verify a functionality, then divide them into groups. While making a group, make sure that all input that belongs to one group producing the same output. First, you identify all possible input conditions, divide them into partitions. While making a partition, make sure that all input that belongs to one group, one partition giving the same output. Many inputs are giving the same output. I repeat, multiple inputs are giving the same output, meaning for all these inputs, same code, same logic is getting executed, correct? Multiple inputs are giving the same output. For all these inputs, same code is running. Hence, we are getting the same output. Why to test the same code again and again? Waste of time. One time is enough. Take one input to verify one logic, preferably middle one. As per equivalence class partitioning technique, first you identify all possible input conditions to verify a functionality. Divide them into groups. While making a group, make sure that all input that belongs to one group is giving the same output. Now, consider one input from each group, approximately, preferably the middle one. After cooking rice also, we don't test a corner piece. We take the middle one and check. After cooking some curry also, we don't take a corner spoon. We mix it up and take the middle one. The same way, take the middle input for testing. Such kind of testing approach or testing technique is called equally divide the groups. Equally make partitions. Take one input from each and every partition. Enough, no need to test with everything. Take the description for today, and Monday session I will give the practical examples. Equivalence class partitioning. As per ECP technique, consider all possible inputs. Consider all possible inputs to test a functionality. All possible inputs to test a functionality. Consider all possible inputs to test a functionality. Then divide them into groups. Divide them into groups. While making a group, make sure that all inputs that belongs to a group, is producing the same logical output. All inputs that belongs to a group is producing the same logical output. Now consider one input from each group. Preferably middle one for testing. One input from each group, preferably middle one for testing. Listen. See, we are testing one banking project. The first functionality in my banking project is login feature. Say, assume that this banking project has 3 modules. Admin can log in, bank employees can log in, system should display banker module, customers can log in, system should display customer module.
Customer module.
Now I want to test only in positive direction. Only in positive direction. I want to test that the login showing the right module to the right user or not. That the login displaying the right module to the right user or not. It is positive or negative scenario. Does the login displaying the right module to the right user or not? Positive. I am
Positive.
considering only positive now, not negative. Right. Enter a valid username, valid password, click submit button. What do you mean by valid?
Registered.
Every business application definitely will have a database. In the database, in some database table, all registered users information will be available. Let's assume this database table name is login users. User ID, password, and the role. There are different categories of users here in the banking product. Every user will be mapped to appropriate role. User 1 belongs to admin category. The user 2 belongs to bank employee. User 3 belongs to customer. Like, let's assume there are about 1,000 registered users in the database. And every user is mapped to appropriate category role. This user of type admin or a banker or a customer. Now we ask to verify that the login showing the right module to the right user or not. What is the meaning of exhaustive testing in this example? If you check, only admin. If you check with all 1,000 registered users, it is called exhaustive testing. Assumption there are 1,000 registered users in the database. I want to test does the login showing the right module to the right user or not. If I test login with all registered users in the database, 1,000 users, it is called exhaustively testing, not needed, not required here, because it takes lots of time and effort. What we can do now?
One admin user and one banking user and one customer user.
Dividing.
As per the ECP technique, totally first, what is the description I have given about ECP? First, identify all possible input conditions to verify the feature. How many possibilities in this example? 1,000. 1,000 possibilities. All possibilities are 1,000. But I cannot test with all 1,000 registered users. Takes lots of time and effort. Divide them into groups. On what basis you make a group? Make sure that all input that belongs to a group giving the same output. So what you will do now? Total users will divide into
Three
groups.
modules.
3 partitions. Groups. Users belongs to admin category.
Admin.
Users belongs to banker category. The users belongs to
Customer.
category.
Customers.
Some data here. Now what I will do, I'll take one user belongs to this group, one user belongs to this group, one user belongs to this group. My test case 1, check login with admin credentials. This username and password will be considered. Expected system should display admin module. Test case 2, check login with bank employee credentials. System should display banker module. Check login with customer account credentials. System should display customer module. In order to confirm that the login showing the right module to the right user or not, these 3 test cases are enough no need to consider 1,000 inputs. This kind of testing technique is called equivalence class partitioning. Hope you understood this. Here the logic is how this will guarantee, how generally programmers will write the code. The person enter a username, password and click submit button. First, the programmer will verify the entered user available in the database or not. If not in the database, display error message. Username does not exist something. If available in the database, the programmer will pick the role. What is the role of the user? If role equal to A, show admin module. Else, if the role of the registered user equal to B, show banker module. Else, show customer module. Assume that in the database, user 1, user 10, user 100, user 500, these 4 people belongs to admin category. What is the role value here? A. Now coming to my logic, if the user is available in the database, yes, available. Programmer pick up the role. If the role equal to A, this code will run. If the role equal to A, this code will run. For this user also, same code will run. For this user also, same code will run. Why to test the same logic again and again? One time is enough. This is a logic behind, technical logic behind equivalence class partitioning technique. For any user belongs to A category, same code will run. Why to test the same code again and again? Waste of time. One time is enough. So I pick up one user who belongs to A category, verify admin module displayed or not. I pick one user belongs to B category, check banker module displayed or not. I pick one user belongs to C category, verify customer module displayed or not. If these 3 test cases are satisfied, pass, 100% remaining test case also will pass, no doubt about it. Such techniques we have to apply to reduce the time of test preparation and time of test case execution. Hope you got it? So here we pick one user belongs to admin category, one user belongs to banker category, one user belongs to customer category. 3 test cases are enough for testing that the login showing the right module to the right user or not. 1,000 test cases are not required. I'm talking about only positive perception. Got it? Note on this example. Hope you understood this right. Online team, hope you understood this right.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Sir, excuse me,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Sir, how this all information is fed in that database table, sir?
How?
This all information is fed in that database table, sir?
That is developer doing it, right?
Okay, sir.
Now, while developing the software, developer is inserting the data into user registration form will be there, right?
Yes, sir.
Whatever the user registered, the data will be stored in the database, right?
Okay.
So take the notes after this diagram. It's short one sentence about what actually it is. Take in this way. In order to check,
So wait, sir, 1 minute. I'm noting this.
okay. 1 minute over. Can I continue? Take the notes.
Continue. Continue.
In order to check, does the login displaying the right module to the right user or not? Does the login showing the right module to the right user or not? We no need to test with all registered users present in the database. We no need to check with all registered users present in the database. If you really do like this, what it is called? Exhaustive testing. Exhaustive testing is not needed. That's what I'm saying. Continuation. In this scenario, we check login with one user belongs to each category. With one user belongs to each category. We check login with one user belongs to each category. So this is enough. No need to test with all inputs available in the database. Understood? Right. So I'll stop here. Happy weekend. On Monday, we'll give another example for equivalence class partitioning. Then we talk about boundary value analysis. Also, I'll discuss about RTM on the Monday session. Okay? Right. Thank you. We'll continue on Monday. Thank you, online team. We'll continue on
Thank
Monday.
you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Test
sir.
cases, what I have written, I'll upload into our LMS.